Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming out in this weather. And I want to welcome you on behalf of PayServ Systems Incorporated. Kathy Hill, founder of C. Holloway Enterprises, is going to speak to us about female empowerment, professionalism in the workplace. I'm super excited about that. And a lot of this makes a lot of sense to me because I have certain qualifications that some men don't have. But before I get started, I just want to tell you that I figured it out. There's 3 types of men in this world. You're already laughing. No, this is serious. There's no, really, there's 3 types of men, Kathy. Did you realize that? 1, there's the man that's really, really good at math. 2, there's the man that's not very good at math. So, I want to talk about PayServ today. PayServ is a nationwide payroll company. We have clients in 48 states. Now, see, I told that joke at the men's seminar last week, and nobody got it. Like, men are like, Of course, they're men. They're men. They're like, I said, well, why do you call this the men's conference? It should be like the ADD conference. So, I've been working on this all week. I'm glad you laughed. PayServ is a nationwide payroll company. My wife and I started it in 2003. I've had the luxury of being in the payroll industry since 1994. And some of you in this room knew me back then. Actually, some of you knew me before that. And it's been a real fun ride. And we just continue to grow as an organization. And we're committed to keeping this company in Angola, Indiana. We have sales branches from New York to Sarasota, Indianapolis, Chattanooga, and we have clients as far as California, and we have clients in Puerto Rico. Now, there's several people in this room that could raise their hand and say, now, Todd, you're getting carried away. So, Heather, where's Heather? Heather Markle came on board with me almost 8 years ago, and she's a brilliant, bright, she's just perfect, and I'm so grateful that she is running the company. Matter of fact, Heather runs 8 companies for me. And so I just wanted to give her a quick little shout out. It's awesome. So, and the irony of all the PayServ systems and things we do, one is payroll, and we do a great job at that. And when we first started the company, we had to learn a lot of things. We had 1 client. Now we have almost 1,000. We now own 2 staffing agencies, and that is cross-selling to all of our clients from California to New York. We have an insurance agency where we package insurance to our payroll clients, and now, of course, with the staffing component, we're able to add employees to our customer base. So it's really a cool culmination of a plan I drew up on the back of a Bob Evans placemat about 12 years ago. So things happen. Things change. People make a difference in this world. And that's kind of what motivated me here today to talk briefly about what Kathy with a C is going to do for us. So how did this come about? I just want to tell you this quick story because I think it matters. Leadership matters. And when I look at women, I think of leaders. I don't think of some of the things we're going to talk about because I'm going to read this article that they wrote in the newspaper. Is Amy here? She wrote a great article, but I read it and I'm like, I said those things, but some people can read these things different than what I said. So I want to go back to those and I want to empower you because my job this morning is to inspire you. My job is to motivate you. My job is to love you. My job is to do these things that need to be done to let you know how important you are. I had a young lady come into my office, and I needed a position filled. And she's a super special lady because I've known her since she was, we got to be careful here, 8 years old. And super proud of her. She came in, and she wasn't doing a great job. And I talked to her and I said, listen, life is kind of funny sometimes, and I know you're trying to figure things out, but you're not doing a very good job at this situation here. And I'm just going to tell you some things, because if they don't change, you probably won't be able to stay here. And it was hard for her, because I don't think anyone's ever really talked to her that way. And I said, so here's the deal. You are PayServ. You are what we want to be. You are the image of us, because most clients from Cali to Puerto Rico don't get to see me or see Heather or see our colors and all the stuff that we do from excellence. They only hear this person's voice. So I said, so when you answer the phone, you need to sit up straight and you need to smile, because that's the beginning of our image. And so we went through some of these things. And some of the words she said were, they're not bad words, but they were just words that a 20-year-old might say, not an executive. So I thought, well, why? It's not fair for me just to say, you're not good enough, you're too young, you're too whatever. It's incumbent on me as a leader to add that piece to help improve somebody, right? And so I said to her, I said, listen, you got to get better. And I suggest you do this. I suggest you get on the internet, because these kids know the internet, right? I said, get on the internet. Read up on executive. Read up on professional language. You go take charge. You change it. You know what she did? She did that. She called me back. She said, Todd, no, actually, she doesn't call me Todd. It's Mr. Saylor. Mr. Saylor, I got this, I got that, I'm reading this, I'm doing that. And by the way, I came across Kathy Hill with a C. I said, well, we better go get some people over there to see that, not just you. So she got everybody rallied up in our office, and I thought, man, there's that much excitement. Maybe we should bring Kathy Hill with a C here, and maybe we could share some of these things, and maybe we could help some other people in this. So long story short, this young lady knocked it out. Super proud of her. Change matters. People matter. Intent and passion and people matter. And so if I can pass that on to you this morning, then this seminar is done. She's going to be great, but at least we got that accomplished. So my qualifications to speak are very clear to women. I'm married one. 26 years. She's awesome. I've got 3 children, all women. All women. These daughters, and I said, God, please, give me one daughter just like my wife. Just one. No, that didn't happen. So I got 3 wonderful daughters. And then to top it off, I employ almost 40 women in my company. Let's just reverse that. I have 2 men. I think that's funny. I don't know why I think that's so funny. So let me read this article. So am I qualified? Everybody raise your hand if I'm qualified to speak to you. All right, that's good. We got some buy-in for the camera if you didn't see that. Okay, so this article comes out in the paper, and yes, I need readers. PayServ Systems wants to empower women with an exclusive communication seminar on Thursday right here at Autumn, 6 Autumns. Those who attend will be eligible for 6 professional continuing education credits. Awesome stuff. PayServ is a payroll human resource services with offices in Angola, Indianapolis, Sarasota, Florida. And Todd Saylor said he is hiring and values hard-working female employees. Approximately 85% of his workers are women. So here's what Todd said. Todd said, I appreciate women and their role in the society, and it seems that their expectations are to be greater and fewer resources are provided for them to compete in this current workplace. All right? And then Todd Saylor went on to say, I see many opportunities in the future of this community and this country. We just need to do better and be more purposeful in hires and training and creating jobs. Saylor also went on to say, how do we make people better? How do we invest in people, in particular the female, hardworking, multitasking world that they live in? Pretty good stuff, right? Lastly, Saylor went on to say, more people, more leaders need to be aware of how important jobs are regardless of sex or creed. I think life is full of bias. All day, every day, everywhere. Saylor said, I feel bad for the men in this workforce because of the female workforce we're about to create. I love that piece right there. All right, so let me just break this down a little bit. One, here's what Todd said. And this is what I want to make sure everybody understands here, that sometimes people read things out of context. I appreciate women and their role in society. And if I stopped right there, I might just get smacked. What I mean, I appreciate women in the society and their role in society. I mean, everybody has a role. If you play football and you're on the offensive line, your job is to block. If you play football and you're the quarterback, your job is to hand the ball off and throw the ball. In a company, Heather has a role. I have a role. We all have roles, and then in society we have roles. But the thing that I feel that's most ironic about women is that you can qualify, unfortunately, and I'm not going to try and be PC here. I'm just going to say you can qualify a man, and the stereotype of what his leadership role generally is, or things of that nature, are one thing. But when you think about a woman, I never thought about it the way this article kind of played out. I never thought that their role was anything but everything. It's like everything. So part of my qualifications as a man, a husband, a father, a leader, I see all those things in women, and I just don't see them the way this article was actually asking me these questions. So I want you to understand, you're amazing. I mean, a lot of you women in here I've known since I was under 13. And some of you ladies work for me. And I just cannot believe how we've grown up and how we've developed as human beings and people and how much we can do. And so when I talk about I appreciate the women's role in society, and it seems that their expectations are to be greater and fewer resources are provided for them to community, it's true. I don't have daycare in my company. I have women having babies every week, it seems like. Heather, I just had to get that out. Honestly, it complicates things. I got to fix that. Well, we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that. But my point is, it's not built for, we just need to do a better job. And so your roles are huge. Your roles are to come, in my company, I can speak specifically, you have to be there on time and enjoy your job and hit your deadlines, and it all has to work. And then I'm sure you go home and there's probably some laundry to do, and the sink's probably full of some things, and the yard's probably not picked up, and the kid probably back-talked a little bit. And I just know. I'm just not going to pretend. And so as an employer or a leader, you need to be aware of those things, and I just want to commend you for being super special. And so your role is everything, and that's what I'm talking about there. So it's incumbent as me as a leader. It's incumbent as you as a female leader in this community to understand those things about that component as well. 2, Saylor said many opportunities in the future in this community, in this country. We just need to do a better job, be more purposeful in hiring, training, and creating jobs. How do we make people better? How do we invest in people? In particularly hard-working females. Because what's about you today, ladies? Well, I think the best way to do that is to be aware of it. You have to be aware of it. You have to be aware that you want to be better. You have to be aware that, if you go into my company, there's a big sign, and it says, do you want to be average? And then my name's underneath it because it's a quote from me. Little secret, I have a little ego. I got a little ego. And so I signed it. And my ego is so ridiculous that I have to have a picture of myself up here while I'm giving this message. You see me right there? That's not, it was in the article. So, I think it's funny. So, how do we make people better? I think the best thing is to be aware of it. And so I think about my group of employees. And we just had a conversation with everybody. And it was, take personal inventory. Take inventory of your life. Take inventory of your job. Take inventory of your husband. Take inventory of your relationship. Take inventory, because if you don't take responsibility for your own self and your own responsibilities, you can't make anybody better. You have to change it. Yeah, I'll preach it. I will. The last thing this guy went on to say, people need to be aware of how important jobs are regardless of sex or creed. All right? I'm not going to get all serious on you, but I'm going to explain this. I think life is full of bias, and this is, if you're worried, this is the close. I think life is full of bias all day, everywhere. Saylor said, I feel bad for the men. All right, let's talk about bias, because actually I wrote this whole speech just to get to that point, because out of everything this nice lady asked me, this one stuck to me the most. You know, bias. Why would she ask me that? Does anybody have any idea why she would ask me that? I answered questions. So why would this newscaster lady say, do you think there's bias still in the workplace? Help me understand this, 'cause I'm the only man in this room right now.
You're a male employer and you employ many females.
So you...
There still is bias in the workplace.
There is.
So she wants to make sure you understand.
I'm not playing dumb here. I'm almost particularly offended the fact that I don't completely understand where that came from. And so I give this generic, not generic, but this like global Fox News answer. And so I want to understand. So what is bias? What is she talking about?
There's been survey after survey where men are paid more for the same job than women are paid.
Okay.
Across the country.
True. What else?
Also, it's generally felt by men, mostly of a certain age, unfortunately it's about my age, that women are not as smart and don't have the capability to be as smart.
So we're talking about like 40-year-old men? I don't know. What? I get it. Give me one more. Give me one more example of bias, so I can actually close this meeting and get Kathy Hill with a C up here. Presence, power. Okay, so, all right.
Let me just say this real quick.
Yeah.
Bias in the workplace. I started my career at 19 years old after I got my undergrad at IBM Corporation. Back in the 70s, an African-American female at a male technology, male-dominated industry, that's bias in the workplace.
Okay, so
You
that.
can imagine what I went through.
Yeah, so you've got 3 interviews to their 1 interview, or you don't get there. You got to go through these things. Okay, so that's almost discrimination.
Yes.
So let's talk about bias, because I really got a point here. Bias, discrimination, all these shuns, all add up to me as motivation. Because here's the deal. She asked me about bias, and I'm like, bias? Bias is everywhere. It's not just with women. Come on, ladies, get over it. I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell, I paid for the podium. Get over it. Change it. Bias or discrimination is motivation. You have to look at things differently. If you just sit here and don't walk out this door and change the way you think about your life, then this seminar has been somewhat of a waste. It's motivation. Nothing changes without bias. We wouldn't all be sitting here if we didn't want to collect each other. I go to a Detroit Lions football game. Anyone watch football? If I wear my Detroit Lions hat anywhere outside, people laugh at me. It's true. My whole life since I was 8. I might get emotional again here, but since I was 8 years old, I love the Detroit Lions. I mean, I love them. I really love them. I cried at a game we lost just last week. But the good news is, they're biased towards me, right, Kathy? They're picking on me because I got the Lions hat and they're not winners and blah, blah, blah. So guess what? When I go to the Detroit Lions football game and I wear my hat, my Calvin Johnson jersey, and I walk into that stadium, you know what I see? Bam! 80,000 Lions fans and no one's making fun of me. Bias changes things. They collect people, they unite people, they motivate people. And so that's really what I wanted to talk about. In close, I have 3 daughters, and I tell them these same things. And I think that they fall on deaf ears, but they really don't. I say, ladies, change it. If you don't like it, change it. If you want something, go get it. If you want it, change it. My youngest daughter, she's 14, and she was upset. She goes to this academy, and this baseball player who's going to be drafted by the Yankees, supposedly. That's his story, right? Made fun of her because she was a softball pitcher. And she said, Dad, that's not right. I said, no, it's not right. It's biased. I didn't use that word, but it fits right now. It's biased. You need to change it. Don't come to me, you change it. 2 days later, I get a phone call from the principal at the high school, or the academy. I'm like, oh, okay. Your daughter came into my office today, and she needed $5. I said, yeah, John, she called me for that too. I was in Sarasota. I couldn't get it. Is everything okay? He goes, I think so. She came back 20 minutes later and gave me 10. I said, what in the world is going on? He goes, evidently some boy from the baseball team who's going to the Yankees said something about she couldn't pitch. I said, yeah. So the whole school went out there, and she said she'd strike him out in 6 pitches. And I said, oh. He goes, yeah, so he had to pay her $10. She paid me back. She struck him out in 5. Change it, baby. Yeah. Right? My middle daughter, Kendra, super sensitive, super everything. Tough growing up and trying to find herself. And she said, Dad, I just don't know. I just don't know what I want to do. I just want to help people. I said, change it then. Change it. She's in Africa for a year, spreading the gospel. Cool stuff. My oldest daughter had a little baby boy, and she named him Saylor. And super great kid. Super awesome daughter. She works for me now, us now. And she said, Dad, I don't like living in this apartment. I don't like it. I said, change it. She went down, she hired a mortgage guy and a realtor. She's got 3 men running all over the community, and she just bought a house. So I just want to commend all of you. I think you're going to have a great seminar. I think you're all going to change it. Kathy Hill, what are you going to do for us?